We appreciate every single one of you. We'd love to know what part of the world you are watching from right now. Let us know in the comments. Now let's dive into today's story, Chapter 1. The slap heard around the bar. The first sound was laughter. Not hers or his. Deep, smug, loud enough to cut through the noise of the Friday night crowd at Sully's bar. Jason stood frozen at the entrance, staring through the haze of neon signs and spilled beer until his eyes locked onto her. Amanda. Hair curled just right, dressed tight enough to get attention. Sitting across from a man who wasn't him. Laughing like she'd never cried in his arms, never promised forever. He stepped forward. Amanda caught sight of him, just a flicker of panic in her eyes, and stood up fast, knocking over her drink. Jason, what are you doing here? Before he could answer, the guy beside her stood too. Younger. Flashy. Wearing a cocky grin and a gold watch. Jason didn't know him, but he knew exactly who he was. Jason looked Amanda dead in the eye. You told me you were at a client dinner. Her hand shot out before the sentence ended. Crack. The slap echoed. Conversation stopped. Music faded into background static. Everyone turned. Jason's face didn't flinch. Red, yes. Burning. But his eyes didn't change. Still locked on hers. Unblinking. You don't get to lie and hit, he said, quiet but cutting. You only get to choose one. The boyfriend laughed again. Damn, bro. Take the L. Jason turned and walked out. Not a word. Not a fight. Just silence. Outside, his hands were shaking, but his mind was still. Crystal clear. She didn't just cheat. She tried to erase him. So what does a man do when the love of his life slaps him in front of her boyfriend? He starts planning. Hey, if you're still watching, that means you're enjoying the story. I have one small request. I'm trying to reach my first 1,000 subscribers. If you like stories like this, please hit the like button and subscribe to join the journey. It means a lot to me, and trust me, even better stories are coming. Now let's continue story. It was 2:12 a.m. when Jason heard the buzz. Amanda was asleep beside him. Face clean, no makeup, breathing like she had nothing to hide. Jason turned slowly, careful not to wake her, and reached for the phone glowing on the nightstand. He didn't need to guess the password. She hadn't changed it since college. The message preview lit up the screen. Tyler. He knows now. Jason stared at it. 3 words. Simple. Terrified. The chat history was worse than he imagined. Photos. Plans. Hotel bookings. Inside jokes that made his stomach twist. She'd even told Tyler what she thought Jason would never find, his fears, his insecurities, how weak he'd become. He read until he felt sick. Then he took screenshots. Every last message. Sent them to a hidden cloud folder. Beside him, Amanda shifted in her sleep. She mumbled something. Reached toward him. Her hand landed on his chest, and he felt her fingers twitch, like she still had a right to comfort. He didn't move, just stared at the ceiling. At 3:04 a.m., he stood up quietly and went to the kitchen. He made coffee. Black. No sugar. Then he opened a blank notebook. Phase 1, gather proof. He wrote the words slowly, deliberately. She thinks she broke me. She didn't. She woke me up. He smiled for the first time in days. Not a happy smile, something colder, something sharper. Because now, the truth was out. And he wasn't going to cry about it. He was going to use it. By Monday morning, Jason knew how to fake normal. He cooked eggs, fed the dog, kissed Amanda's cheek like nothing had changed. She laughed, even flirted a little, like Friday night had never happened. Like the slap didn't exist. Like Tyler was just a shadow. Jason watched her pour coffee and talk about her busy week. She had no idea he was already recording. A tiny mic sat hidden under the kitchen island, wired to his phone. Another client dinner Wednesday, she said casually. You cool with leftovers that night? Sure, he said, smiling. Don't wait up. She kissed his cheek again. Lips soft. Deadly. The second she left, he went into the guest room. Opened a shoebox beneath the bed. Inside, a tiny USB recorder, another burner phone, and a copy of the security system's login. By noon, he was watching footage from Saturday. Amanda walking in with Tyler. Her hands in his back pockets. Him lifting her onto the couch, the same couch Jason had paid for. He didn't cry. He didn't scream. He clicked download. That night, they had dinner like always. Roast chicken. mashed potatoes. Amanda wore a tank top Jason bought her last Christmas. She smiled when he complimented it. Under the table, his fist stayed tight. She told him she loved him as they got into bed. He whispered it back. But in his mind, he wasn't lying next to Amanda anymore. He was lying next to a case file. Exhibit A, a wife with two faces. Exhibit B, a husband learning how to burn lies without making a sound. Jason knew the guy wasn't just a fling. The way Amanda looked at him, that wasn't new. That was routine. That was comfort built on secrets. So Jason did what Amanda never expected. He went digging. He started with the car. Friday night, parked 2 blocks down. Jason had memorized the license plate. Ran it through a contact at the DMV the next day. Came back with a name that wasn't Tyler. Evan Cole. Age 33. 4 priors. 2 for fraud. 1 for assault. 1 sealed. Current residence, a rented condo on Riverside. 3 exits from Jason's neighborhood. Jason stared at the file on his screen. He's not just sleeping with my wife, he whispered. He's using her. He printed everything. Put it in a folder labeled insurance. Later that night, Amanda was watching a reality show on the couch, wine in hand, pretending life was fine. Jason sat beside her. Calm. Steady. She leaned on him. You've been quiet lately, she said. Eyes on the TV. Just tired. You sure we're good? We're great, Jason smiled. You trust me, right? She laughed. Of course. Jason kissed her forehead. In the bedroom, while she showered, he slipped the folder into his work bag. The one she never touched. He didn't plan to go to war unarmed. By Wednesday, Jason had the mics in place. Under the bed frame. Behind the headboard. Inside the smoke detector. The audio quality was clean. And Amanda? Predictable. Wednesday was always her client dinner night. At 7:42 p.m., Jason sat in his car 3 blocks away, watching the feed from the hidden cameras. He had a thermos of black coffee and a notebook open in his lap. At 8:11, she walked in with Evan. He wore a hoodie, but Jason recognized the walk. The door shut. The lights dimmed. Then the audio kicked in. Miss me, babe? Always. Jason didn't flinch. Just wrote down the timestamp. You're sure he's buying it? Jason? Please. That man couldn't see fire if it was in his bed. Jason circled that line. Twice. You know, if you just pushed a little, he might give you access to the joint account again. I'm working on it. Jason paused the recording. He sat in silence, the streetlights casting a yellow glow across the dashboard. His knuckles were white around the pen. She wasn't just cheating. She was conning him, grooming him for a financial drain. This wasn't about love. It was about leverage. Jason hit play again. So, how much longer are you going to play house? Long enough to bleed him out. Then we bounce. Jason's pen stopped moving. He leaned back in the seat, eyes closed. Not just betrayal. This was a long con. And he was the mark. But not anymore. The next morning, Jason was up before Amanda. He stood at the kitchen sink, mug in hand, watching the driveway cam footage on his phone. There she was, last night, smiling as she let Evan in, wearing that same robe Jason bought her last Christmas. She didn't even hesitate. He scrubbed through the footage. Bedroom cam. Because soon, this wasn't going to be just a divorce. It was going to be a reckoning. And Jason wasn't just planning to survive it. He was going to own it. Jason didn't expect to see Haley at the coffee shop that morning. Amanda's best friend. Maid of honor at their wedding. The woman who used to call him her big brother-in-law. She hadn't looked him in the eye in months. But there she was, seated by the window, tapping at her phone. He approached with a cold purpose. Hey, Haley. Her face froze mid-scroll. Jason, wow, hey. Mind if I sit? She hesitated. Sure. He slid into the seat across from her, placed his phone on the table, face up, voice memo already recording. You knew, didn't you? She blinked. What? Amanda. The affair. Evan, who's not even Tyler. You knew. Haley looked away, eyes darting out the window like the answers might be hiding in traffic. Jason, it wasn't my place. No, he said. But it was your responsibility. She looked back, guilt flooding her expression. I tried to stay out of it. She told me you were detached, distant. He leaned forward. So that justifies lying? Watching her wreck our marriage. Haley's lips parted, But no defense came. Instead, her shoulders dropped. I didn't want to lose her. You're going to, Jason said flatly. Because I'm not just divorcing Amanda. I'm exposing everything. And if you're involved, I'm not. I swear. But, she glanced around, then leaned in, voice low. She's got dirt on her boss. They've been covering for each other. It's not just an affair, Jason, it's money. That got his attention. She said if she plays it right, she walks away with you gone, the cash cleaned, and no one the wiser. Jason sat back, processing. So she used me as cover. Haley nodded. But I can help. Just don't ruin me too. Jason stood, collected his phone. Help me take her down. Or you go down with her. Her eyes widened. Call me tonight, he said, and walked out without waiting for her answer. That night, Jason made lasagna. Her favorite. Garlic bread on the side. Wine chilled just right. Candles lit. Music low. Amanda walked in and smiled like she hadn't shattered him piece by piece. What's the occasion? She asked, setting down her purse. Just felt like celebrating us, Jason said, voice smooth. She tilted her head, amused. You've been so sweet lately. I'm trying to be better. She walked over, kissed him. You're doing amazing. They sat, they ate, they laughed. Amanda talked about work. Claimed her client meeting ran late. Jason nodded, all smiles, while the recorder in his watch quietly captured her voice. I've been thinking, he said, pouring her more wine. We should plan a getaway. Just us. She lit up. Really? You mean that? Yeah. One last good memory before the year ends. He saw it, that flicker. Not guilt. Strategy. She was calculating what she could squeeze out of this. After dinner, they curled up on the couch. She rested her head on his chest. You remember our first vacation? She asked. That crappy motel on the beach? Jason chuckled. The AC broke. You nearly melted. She laughed. I still loved it. He kissed her forehead, eyes dark. So did I. Later, when she fell asleep, Jason slipped out of bed and opened his laptop. He uploaded the dinner conversation to his drive. She talked about the fake smile she wore at work. About the money soon coming through. He labeled the file, Amanda_confession_1. In the morning, she made him pancakes. See, she said, flipping one. We're good again. Jason smiled. Yeah, babe. We're better than ever. But in his head, he whispered to himself, you won't see me coming. Jason waited in the parking lot behind a strip mall off 23rd. It was cold, sharp wind biting through his jacket. But he didn't feel it. Not really. He'd been tracking Evan Tyler for 3 days. He followed his movements, his pattern. He liked the same smoothie shop every Thursday at noon. Always came out alone. At 12:14, the man stepped out with sunglasses on, cup in hand, that same cocky strut Jason saw at the bar. Jason stepped into his path. Evan slowed, smirked. Hey, Jason, right? Look, man. The punch landed before the sentence ended. A sick crack. Evan stumbled, crashing against the side of a parked car. Smoothie hit the ground. Jason grabbed his jacket, pulled him close. Say her name again. I dare you. Blood dripped from Evan's mouth. His sunglasses cracked. Dude, you're insane. Another punch. This time to the gut. Evan gasped, folded over. Jason let him drop. No cameras, Jason muttered, glancing around. He knew. He'd checked. Evan tried to speak. You're going to jail. No, Jason said, stepping back. You're going to disappear. Or I release every file I've got. And trust me, they care more about what you've done than what I just did. Evan spat blood. You don't scare me. Jason leaned down. I don't need to. But you know who does? The feds. You'll hear from them soon. He turned and walked away, heart pounding, not from fear, but from release. That night, Amanda noticed the bruise on Jason's knuckles. What happened? She asked. Box slipped at work, he said. She laughed. Clumsy. He smiled back. But inside, something had shifted. Not fear. Not sadness. Control. And he was just getting started. Jason stood in the hallway of his own home, folder in hand. It was late afternoon. Sunlight leaked through the blinds, casting long, sharp shadows across the hardwood floor. Amanda was on the couch, barefoot, scrolling through her phone, legs tucked under her like it was just another easy day. He stepped into the living room, calm, precise. "Hey," he said. She looked up, smiled. "Hey, babe. You're home early." He held out the envelope. "What's this?" she asked, taking it. She opened it slowly. The first page had the word divorce bold and centered. Her smile broke instantly. She looked up, confused. "Jason, what the hell is this?" "Exactly what it looks like." Her voice rose. "Are you serious? You're ending our marriage like this?" Jason's tone never changed. "You ended it the night you brought him into our house." Amanda stared, mouth slightly open, caught between rage and panic. "You don't know what you're talking about. I know about Evan. I know about the money. I know about the fake client dinners, the wire transfers, the lies. I have recordings. I have video. You humiliated me in public and then tried to finish the job in private." She stood, shaking now. "You can't just, this isn't how we solve things. You slapped me in a bar," he said, stepping closer, "to protect your boyfriend. Now I'm signing away your security." She looked at him like she didn't recognize him. Maybe she didn't. He turned to leave, then paused. "Check the second envelope. You'll love the bank statements." She ripped it open. The joint account, emptied. Legally transferred. "Clean. You bastard," she screamed. He looked back once. Calm. "No, Amanda. That title belongs to someone else." Amanda stormed into her office building the next day, red-eyed and furious. Jason was already gone by then, moved out. She didn't know where. He left no trace. But what Amanda didn't know was that the package had already arrived. 3 days prior, Jason had sent an anonymous envelope to her company's HR department. Inside, documents showing thousands in company card charges, spa visits, flights, dinners, all listed as client meetings. Included were screenshots of text messages clearly showing she was with Evan during most of those. The timing was surgical. At 11:30 a.m., Amanda was called into HR. The office manager, Mr. Sutter, was holding the folder with a grim look. "Amanda," he said calmly, "can you explain these?" She blinked. "What? Where did you get these? Do you deny they're real?" This is a mistake. It's taken out of context." Sutter didn't blink. "The board will be notified. Effective immediately, your access to accounts is revoked pending an internal audit." Jason, sitting across town in a quiet cafe, sipped his coffee. His phone buzzed. "Haley, she just got pulled into HR. She's freaking out. What's next?" Jason typed back. "Next, she watches everything fall." He uploaded a second set of files into his cloud drive. These ones linked Evan to Amanda's transactions. Same restaurants, same flights, same hotels. Just waiting. That evening, Amanda called Jason. Her voice was shaking. "What did you do?" He answered coolly. "Did you really think you could bleed me and your company at the same time? You're insane." "No," he replied. "I'm focused." Click. Amanda had one backup plan left, her big win. A downtown property she was about to close. A luxury condo Jason didn't even know about. She had told Evan they'd cash out after the flip, then vanish. Start over. Fresh. Only Jason did know. Haley had slipped him the paperwork during their second coffee meeting. The buyer's name? A shell company. Traced back to Evan. The seller? Amanda. The money was meant to be cleaned and split between them. Jason moved first. He contacted an old college friend, now a real estate broker, and made a cash offer under a separate shell corporation. Higher than Evan's. Cleaner. Faster. The seller accepted. When Amanda showed up to sign the final documents, the broker slid the papers across with a smile. "Congrats," he said. "Here's the final buyer's information." She glanced down and froze. Her face drained. She looked up at the agent. "This name, this can't be right." "It's fully processed," he said. "Closed 10 minutes ago." Amanda's hands trembled as she read the buyer. J.R. Miller Holdings. Jason. Robert. Miller. She didn't even make it to the car before screaming into her phone. Jason didn't answer. He was watching her from his parked car half a block down. No sound. Just the visual of her pacing, yelling, panicked. He didn't need to hear the words. He already knew what they were. Jason hadn't spoken to Amanda's mother in months. Not since the wedding anniversary dinner where Amanda faked smiles while texting Evan under the table. But Mrs. Carter had always been kind to Jason, traditional, sharp, and fiercely loyal to her family's image. So when Jason pulled into her driveway on a quiet Sunday afternoon, he didn't come with anger. He came with a USB drive. She opened the door looking surprised, but not unfriendly. "Jason, I need 10 minutes," he said. "That's all." She hesitated, then stepped aside. Inside, Jason sat at the kitchen island where he'd once helped slice Thanksgiving pies. He slid the drive across the counter. "What's this?" "Proof," he said. "Of everything." She plugged it in. Watched. The texts. The videos. Amanda's voice calling Jason a walking bank account. Her laughter with Evan. The kitchen footage. The financial records. Her face changed slowly. From confusion to disbelief to disgust. "She told me you were checked out," her mother whispered. "She told you what she needed to keep you on her side." When the video ended, silence filled the kitchen. Then Mrs. Carter stood, opened her phone, and began typing. "What are you doing?" Jason asked. "Correcting what I should have questioned months ago," she said. "Amanda may be my daughter, but I didn't raise a con artist." That night, Amanda's phone lit up with a Facebook notification. Linda Carter has posted a video. The caption read, "Sometimes the truth hurts more than lies. My daughter owes an apology to more than one man." The video had over 1,000 shares by morning. Jason knew exactly when to pull the next string. The email went out at 2:18 a.m., sent to the IRS Fraud Division, the State Board of Accountancy, and Amanda's company legal team. The subject line, "Financial discrepancies, cross-company laundering with supporting evidence." Attached were spreadsheets, timestamped statements, and screenshots showing Amanda's transactions, multiple trips, cash withdrawals, and hotel stays that lined up perfectly with company travel cards. And of course, Evan's involvement. Flights booked under alias accounts, traceable to the same burner phone Amanda used. He made sure the documents weren't just damning, they were airtight. By 10 a.m., Evan's condo was raided. Jason watched from across the street, parked with tinted windows, Max in the passenger seat. Two agents walked out with a laptop and a safe. One of them said something into a walkie. The other held a photo in their hand. Jason didn't need to see it up close. He knew whose face was printed on that sheet. Amanda's. At 10:46 a.m., Amanda called. "No greeting. You did this. You sick son of a," Jason cut in. "Be careful what you say. This line might be recorded." Silence. Then, "You won't win." "I already did," he said calmly. "I'm not here for revenge anymore. I'm here for truth. And truth doesn't need permission." Click. Later that day, Amanda was escorted out of her office. Jason got the video 30 minutes later, sent by a receptionist he'd never even met. He watched as security walked her past stunned coworkers. Her hair perfect, her face blank. Jason didn't smile. He just hit download. The courtroom was smaller than Jason expected. Beige walls, low ceilings, no drama. But the silence in the room felt heavier than steel. Amanda sat across from him at the opposite table. Her lawyer whispered fast and low. She didn't make eye contact. She hadn't since the moment they walked in. Jason adjusted his tie. Simple navy suit. Clean shave. Calm presence. Case number 41, B3. Miller versus Miller. The judge looked through the file, brow rising higher with every page. "You've submitted audio, video, financial records, text messages." "Yes, Your Honor," Jason said clearly. "And all of this was obtained legally?" "Every bit. I never accessed anything she didn't leave unlocked. The house is jointly owned. The devices are shared property." Amanda's lawyer objected, weakly. The judge waved it off. Jason pulled out one final document. A notarized statement from Haley, detailing Amanda's affair, her plans to drain the accounts, and the manipulation of Jason's emotional state to maintain control. Jason passed it to the bailiff. Amanda finally looked up. Her lips were tight, hands clenched. The judge reviewed the paper, then looked directly at her. "You used this man as financial cover while engaging in extramarital affairs and potential criminal conduct. Do you understand the legal and moral weight of what you've done?" Amanda opened her mouth, then closed it. Jason didn't need to hear her answer. The judge's voice cut through the quiet. "I see no grounds for spousal support. All shared assets will default to the petitioner." You're lucky this isn't a criminal case, yet. A bang of the gavel. Amanda didn't cry. She just sat there. Still. Defeated. Jason stood, buttoned his jacket, and walked out into the afternoon light, free, but not finished. The day after the courtroom fallout, Jason got an encrypted email from Haley. Subject, check this out. Told you it goes deeper. Attached, a PDF chain of internal communications between Amanda and her boss, Richard Carlson. It wasn't just cover-ups. They were actively funneling money out of the company under bogus consulting contracts. Jason scrolled slowly, breath tight. Amanda wasn't just cheating on him emotionally. She was laundering thousands with her superior, and Evan? He was listed as one of the consultants. Jason exhaled, leaned back in his chair. So that's how she kept her job so long. Not skill. Not charm. Blackmail. He made one call. Diane? It's Jason Miller. We met at the board dinner last year. I need 15 minutes. No more. It's about Richard. And Amanda. Diane Bell was a senior partner at Amanda's firm. Old school. No tolerance for scandal. By the next morning, Diane had the docs. And within 48 hours, Richard Carlson's name was stripped from the website. Amanda's email was shut down. Jason didn't celebrate. Not yet. This wasn't just revenge anymore. This was cleanup. Amanda had built her web on lies and leverage. Now every strand was snapping. And she had no idea how deep Jason had gone. 2 days after Carlson's fall, Amanda texted Jason. Can we talk? Not about the case. Just us. He read it 5 times before replying. Sure. One dinner. Neutral place. They met at an Italian spot downtown. Quiet. Dim lights. Jason wore a calm mask. Amanda looked different. Hair tied up. No makeup. More real than he'd seen her in months. I messed up, she started. I know that. Jason didn't answer. I never meant to hurt you like this, Jason. I got lost in something that felt like control, like freedom. But it turned into something ugly. And now I'm alone. He looked at her. Why are you really here? Amanda's eyes glistened. She reached across the table. Because you were the only real thing in my life. You were safe. You were good to me. And I ruined it. Jason leaned forward. So confess. Right now. Just tell me everything. No filters. She hesitated. Then, she started talking. About Evan. About Richard. About hiding withdrawals under travel expenses. About the night she saw Jason outside the bar and panicked. I slapped you because I thought if he saw me take your side, he'd turn on me. I didn't know what else to do. Jason nodded slowly. His phone, inside his jacket pocket, recorded every word. After dinner, she reached for a hug. He gave it. Thank you for meeting me, she said quietly. He whispered back, I hope you meant every word. He watched her walk to her car. Then pulled out his phone and uploaded the full recording to the folder labeled Amanda_confession_2. The next morning, Jason returned to the house, his house now, legally. It was mostly empty. Amanda had taken her things, except a few books, some kitchenware, and a dusty old Bible she'd kept since college. He opened it out of habit, curious if she'd left something inside. Something dropped. A key card. Jason stared at it. No hotel logo, just a strip and room number in black ink. Room 1913. The hotel's name was scribbled faintly, Garden West Suites. He didn't hesitate. 20 minutes later, he stood outside the door. Swipe. Click. Open. Inside. Nothing at first glance. Just a pristine room. Made bed. Soft lighting. But the closet. Inside were a duffel bag, cash bundles, a burner phone, a second passport under Amanda's maiden name, and a folder labeled Exit. Jason sat on the edge of the bed. Opened the folder. Bank routing numbers. A one-way flight to Tulum, Mexico, dated just 3 weeks out. A printed transfer for $127,000. She'd planned to vanish. Alone. Leave Evan behind. Leave Jason ruined. Take the money. Start over. He picked up the phone and dialed one number. Haley, you still good with the press contact? Yeah. Why? I just found Amanda's escape plan. Full documentation. You still want your immunity? Send me everything. Jason looked around the hotel room. The neat bed. The toothbrush in the bathroom. The sandals at the corner. She had her future packed and ready. But she didn't plan on him still breathing. The folder from Amanda's hidden hotel stash was a goldmine. Names, payments, hidden accounts. Jason spent the night piecing it all together like a forensic puzzle. By morning, he had a plan. He burned everything onto 3 flash drives. One was sent anonymously to Amanda's former company's board of directors. The second went to a financial crimes journalist, Haley's press contact, known for blowing up white-collar schemes in regional politics and business. The third? He kept. For leverage. That afternoon, the article went live. Executive team implicated in embezzlement. Web source claims whistleblower exposed scheme from inside. Amanda's name wasn't redacted. Neither was Evans. Jason didn't gloat. He didn't smile. He just watched the shares climb. 50,000 views. 100 comments in an hour. Anonymous accounts posting clips of Amanda's court appearance. One user uploaded her slap from the bar, paired with screenshots of the article. Within hours, the story hit trending on Twitter. And then his phone buzzed. Unknown number. Mr. Miller? Yes. This is Detective Rhodes with Financial Crimes. We'd like to speak with you regarding your submission and ask for a statement in person. Jason nodded. Name the time. When he ended the call, he looked at Max, curled by the door. We're not done yet, boy. Jason didn't plan to go back to Sully's. But something in him needed to stand in the same spot, this time with both eyes open. It was nearly empty. Early weekday. Just the bartender and 2 college kids in the corner playing darts. He took the same stool. Ordered the same drink. Old-fashioned. No cherry. The bartender looked at him a beat too long. You were the guy, he said. The slap. Jason smiled faintly. That obvious? We all remember. Wasn't right. Jason sipped his drink. No, it wasn't. He pulled out his phone. Checked the live stream link Haley had sent him. The news was holding a panel now, discussing Amanda's scandal, Evans' pending charges, and the firm's collapse. One expert called it a house of cards built on romance and theft. Jason let the screen dim. He didn't need to watch anymore. His part was over. He left the bar without finishing the drink. This time, no one slapped him. This time, no one dared. Jason didn't expect the call. It came at 8:42 a.m., 2 days after the article exploded. Blocked number. A man's voice. I need to talk to you. Not on the record. I think your ex-wife slept with my husband. Jason froze. Who is this? My name's Calvin. My partner works at Amanda's firm. He handled some of the contracts she funneled through. I checked his emails. He didn't just help her, he knew her. Jason closed his eyes. How do you know it wasn't just business? Calvin hesitated. I found a photo. From a trip they said was for training. It wasn't training. They were in Vegas. Same suite. Champagne. Bed selfies. Jason's hands clenched. You're telling me Amanda was with your husband too? She was running game on him. Like she did with yours. But here's the kicker. He's my brother-in-law. Which means, Jason stood slowly. The truth landed like a punch to the ribs. She slept with your husband. My brother-in-law. And I'm guessing we're not the only ones. Jason didn't speak. Couldn't. Calvin continued. She was working more than just the firm. She was targeting connections. People with access. Amanda didn't just cheat, man. She built a whole damn con. And we're just starting to uncover it. Jason sat down, stunned silent. Not just an affair. Not even 2. It was a pattern. A game. A life built on exploiting others, and no one saw it. Until now. Jason hadn't spoken to his sister Mallory in weeks. Not since the divorce hearing. She'd been strangely distant. Vague texts. Avoided calls. At first, he chalked it up to awkwardness. No one knew how to handle a public scandal like Amanda's. But after the call from Calvin, something didn't sit right. He drove to her house late that afternoon, unannounced. She opened the door in sweats, face bare, hair tied back. Jason. Her voice was too calm. We need to talk. She let him in. Closed the door slowly. He didn't sit. How long did you know? Mallory blinked. About what? Amanda. Evan. The money. Vegas. Calvin's husband. The whole damn network. Her face dropped. Not in surprise. In resignation. Jason. I didn't know everything. You knew something, he snapped. And you said nothing. You watched me fall apart. Mallory sat on the armrest of her couch. She came to me a year ago. Said you were distant. Unhappy. She said she was scared to leave because she didn't want to hurt you. Jason's stomach turned. And you believed her? I wanted to. You were different back then. Closed off. I was being played, he said, voice shaking. Manipulated. I didn't know about the other men, she said softly. I swear. Jason shook his head. You didn't ask. She looked up at him, eyes glassy. I didn't want to ruin our family. You didn't protect it either. He left without another word. In the driveway, he stood next to his car, hands on the roof, breathing hard. Amanda hadn't just infiltrated his marriage. She'd poisoned everything, including the people closest to him. Jason opened the letter without thinking. Just another piece of forwarded mail from the old house. But inside was a policy confirmation from Monarch Life and Asset. Beneficiary, Amanda Carter Miller. The insured, Jason R. Miller. Value, $500,000. He froze. The policy had been activated 9 months ago, right around the same time Amanda started pulling away emotionally. Just before the affair turned physical. Jason called the number on the letter, gave his credentials, asked for confirmation. The rep spoke plainly. Yes, Mr. Miller. The policy is still active. It was taken out with your consent, though the form indicates it was e-signed through joint online access. Jason gripped the phone tighter. What happens if I cancel it? You can, effective immediately. Do it. The call ended. But the questions didn't. Why insure him unless she thought something might happen? Unless she was planning for something to happen. He called his mechanic for months ago, back when his brakes had failed on the freeway during a routine morning drive. At the time, it seemed like bad luck. Wear and tear. But now? Tony, it's Jason. That report from December, the brake issue. Can I get a copy? Tony paused. You still having problems? No. I need to look at the original failure. Something feels wrong. Jason drove there the same day. When Tony brought out the notes, his voice dropped. I didn't say anything back then because I thought maybe you knew. But the line wasn't worn, man. It was cut. Jason's body went still. Clean slice. Not frayed. Looked like a deliberate cut. A silence so sharp it hurt. Amanda didn't just want out. She wanted out rich, with him dead and buried. Jason stared at the old repair order in his hands. Cut brake line. Clean entry. No rust. No sign of pressure failure. Deliberate. That day on the freeway, he could have died. He could have been worth more to Amanda dead than alive. The rest of the world saw a cheating scandal. A legal drama. A juicy expose. But Jason had lived through a murder plot disguised as marital breakdown. He walked back to his car, hands trembling but jaw locked. The city felt different now. Quieter. Colder. Like it knew what had almost happened. Back at his apartment, he opened a new folder on his encrypted drive. Label. Attempted homicide evidence he uploaded. Insurance documents. Brake inspection scan. Call log with Monarch Life. Audio memo recapping Tony's words. Then he sat on the couch, staring at the wall. This wasn't revenge anymore. This wasn't about pride. Amanda had weaponized love, trust, and marriage into a system. A machine. And Jason was supposed to be its last casualty. Max patted over, curled up against his feet. Jason leaned forward, hand resting on the dog's back, his voice barely above a whisper. I survived her. But how many didn't? He picked up the phone, dialed Detective Rhodes. We need to meet, he said. This goes deeper than anyone knows. It was buried deep in the drawer, beneath a stack of old receipts and birthday cards, in an envelope that hadn't been touched in nearly a year. Jason pulled it out with fingers that shook more than he expected. Amanda, if you're reading this, it means I'm gone. The letter had been written during the darkest week of his life. Before he knew about Evan. Before the bank accounts. Before the slap. Just suspicion, loneliness, and that crushing silence in the home they once filled with laughter. He scanned it now. The words felt like someone else's voice. I don't know what I did wrong. I just know something's missing. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's you. But it hurts more than I can say. Jason folded it back up and held it in his palm. That version of him, the man begging for answers, was gone. Burned down and rebuilt, stronger, colder. He walked to the fireplace, lit a match, and fed the letter to the flames. It curled and blackened, ashes floating like ghosts above the fire. No more pleading. No more grief. Only resolve. Amanda would never get that goodbye. She forfeited it the moment she chose ambition over love. Blood money over vows. Jason watched the last of the paper vanish into smoke and whispered, "You don't get to break me and bury me in the same breath." The criminal case was smaller, but the tension thicker. Jason arrived early. Press hovered outside. Amanda wore a dark blazer and minimal makeup, trying to soften her image. Her lawyer walked stiffly, already sweating before the judge even entered. The charges were stacked: financial fraud, conspiracy, identity misuse, and potential attempted insurance fraud, pending further investigation. Jason took the stand calmly. Clear, precise. He outlined the embezzled accounts, her communication with Evan and Richard, the falsified business receipts, the life insurance policy. He didn't speak with hatred, just clarity. Facts. Receipts. Dates. The defense tried to paint him as a scorned ex-husband with a vendetta. Jason let them, because the prosecution had audio, video, testimonies. The receipts Jason spent months collecting. Then came the moment that shifted the room. A financial investigator took the stand. She confirmed the break line evidence was under review. She didn't say murder attempt, but she didn't have to. Amanda's jaw clenched. For the first time, her facade cracked. After the recess, Amanda refused to return to the courtroom. Her attorney requested a delay. The judge denied it. Jason sat quietly as the charges were read aloud again. No reaction. No smugness. No smile. Just focus. Because this wasn't about vengeance anymore. It was about making sure she never did it again to anyone. Jason didn't expect to hear from Rhodes that morning. He was pouring coffee when the detective called. "We found Evan Cole." Jason paused. Alive. Barely. Evan had been found in a cheap motel off the interstate. Broken ribs. Cracked orbital. Blood in his lungs. Someone had worked him over bad, and not for the first time. "Do you think it was Amanda?" Jason asked. Rhodes hesitated. "We don't know yet. But here's the twist. He had a sealed envelope in his coat pocket. Your name on it." Jason's heart kicked once. "We're holding it for now, but you'll get it." Jason hung up, staring out the window. Evan was supposed to be the loud one, the con, the predator, but he ended up another pawn, another piece Amanda used and discarded. Later that night, Jason sat on the edge of his bed, Max asleep at his feet, and thought about the trail of bodies she left: financial, emotional, physical. She didn't just cheat. She ruined. And now the world was watching. Jason didn't want to believe it at first. Mallory hadn't answered his last 3 calls. Not since the court hearing. Not since Amanda's second collapse on the stand. But it wasn't until he saw the tagged photo online that the truth came slamming in. Amanda, sitting at brunch, hair tied back, oversized sunglasses on, and right beside her, smiling like nothing ever happened, Mallory. The caption read, "Real ones stick together when the world gets messy." Hashtag blood over everything. Jason stared at the screen. He scrolled the comments. Liked by Amanda's old coworkers. A few mutual friends. One even wrote, "Glad someone's still in her corner." He didn't know what made his chest hurt more, the betrayal or the stupidity. That night, he drove to Mallory's place. Knocked once. Twice. She opened the door in silence. "Are you serious?" Jason said, holding up the photo. She didn't deny it. "She's still my friend," Mallory said. "You want me to hate her because she hurt you? She lied to me. She lied to you. She used us. She made mistakes, Jason. But so did you. You weren't always this perfect." Jason laughed bitterly. "You think this is about perfection? She tried to end me. She didn't just cheat, Mal. She nearly took my life for a payout." Mallory blinked, stunned silent. Jason stepped back. "You're either on my side, or you're with her. There's no middle ground left." Mallory didn't answer. And that was his answer. He left. No hug. No goodbye. Just another name crossed off the list of people he thought would never fold. The house had been on the market for 2 weeks. The offers came in fast: good neighborhood, upgraded appliances, no known issues. No one cared about the history inside its walls. But Jason did. He walked through it one last time, Max trailing close behind. The kitchen where Amanda used to fake dinner parties with clients. The living room where Evan once laughed like he owned it. The guest room Jason had turned into a recording vault for everything he collected. He stepped into the master bedroom and stared at the empty walls. The place didn't feel haunted. It felt cleansed. He sat on the floor next to Max and rubbed his head. Guess it's just us now. Max licked his hand like he understood. By noon, the paperwork was signed. The keys handed off to the buyers. Jason watched from across the street as a young couple walked up to the front porch, smiling like their life was just beginning. It was. And his? His was already mid-chapter. New setting. New rhythm. Jason drove away with Max in the passenger seat, windows cracked, music low. He didn't need revenge anymore. He needed peace. Jason found a loft 3 cities over. Quiet. Minimal. Exposed brick and floor-to-ceiling windows that faced a skyline instead of memories. He paid in full, no installments, no co-signers, no trace of Amanda or anyone connected to her. The leasing agent looked up after reading the application. Jason Miller? Yes. She smiled. Clean record. Solid finances. You starting fresh? Jason nodded. Something like that. The place smelled of new paint and dust. No photos on the walls. No shared closets. Just space. Clean, open space. Jason unpacked slowly over the next few days. No rush. No deadlines. He bought a simple couch, a black coffee table, a record player. 1 bedroom. 1 dog bed. At night, Max curled up beside the couch while Jason played old blues records and watched the city breathe. No screaming. No lies. No silent tension thick enough to slice with a knife. Just calm. And it was in that stillness that Jason realized something. He didn't win because Amanda lost. He won because she no longer had a hold on his life, his time, or his mind. She'd taken everything, his marriage, his pride, his trust. But she didn't take him. That was his to reclaim. And now, it was his again. Jason didn't go back to court. The second trial, Amanda's criminal case, was streamed online through the state's public docket. Jason watched it from his new loft, Max curled up beside him, the cold gray sky outside matching the tone of the room. The prosecutor laid it all out: embezzlement, identity misuse, wire fraud, and the newly opened investigation into the brake line incident. Amanda sat stiff in a charcoal pantsuit, her hair tied back like it was the only part of her still in control. Jason recognized the look. It was the same expression she wore at dinner parties. Polished. Performed. Empty. The judge didn't show sympathy. She didn't cry. She didn't plead. Her lawyer did most of the talking, arguing stress, manipulation, emotional breakdown. Jason muted the audio. He didn't need to hear excuses anymore. He focused on her face. The twitch in her jaw when the bank statements were shown. The stiff posture when the wiretaps played. The flicker of rage, so fast, most viewers would miss it. When the reporter's article was quoted in court. By the end of the day, Jason leaned back and closed his laptop. Amanda wasn't the woman he married. Maybe she never was. And now, she was just another name on a docket. A list of charges. A case number. That was her legacy now. And Jason? He still had time to write his. The emails started slowly, then flooded in. First a woman from Oregon, then a guy in Atlanta, then 3 more from different cities, people Jason had never met, thanking him. They'd read the article, watch the trial. One said her ex had done the same thing, drained her, cheated, tried to make her feel small. You told the story I never could. Thank you for surviving it. Jason didn't know how to respond at first. He wasn't a hero. He hadn't wanted to be anyone's symbol. He was just trying not to lose himself in the mess Amanda left behind. But each message reminded him he wasn't alone. The damage Amanda caused wasn't rare. It was just rarely exposed. One email stood out. No name attached. No backstory. Just 3 lines. She did it to me too. 10 years ago. Different name. Same tricks. She nearly ruined my life. Jason read it twice. Then a 3rd time. He printed it. Taped it to the inside of his filing cabinet. She hadn't just wrecked a marriage. She'd left a trail. And Jason's voice, his fight, had finally dragged her darkness into the light. Jason met the attorney in a coffee shop near the courthouse. Early morning. Rain tapping the windows. The man was sharp-eyed, mid-40s, Suit too clean for someone drinking burnt diner coffee. I'm not here to chase headlines, he said. I'm here because you know how to do what most people can't, build a case. Jason sipped his coffee. I didn't build it. I just documented it. That's exactly what I need. We have people who can investigate, but few who think like survivors, who can see the manipulation coming and track it properly. Jason hesitated. I'm not a lawyer. You don't have to be. Come in as a consultant. We'll teach you the legal ropes. You'd work with us on domestic cases, divorce, financial abuse, asset concealment. People like you? They bring insight that books don't teach. Jason leaned back. He wasn't expecting opportunity to rise from the ashes. But maybe that's what justice looked like after the storm, building something useful from the wreckage. I'll think about it, he said. The man nodded. Don't take too long. You've got instincts I'd pay double for. Jason stepped outside into the soft rain. For once, the cold didn't bother him. The office was warm, neutral. The walls lined with soft colors, a bookshelf, and a small water feature that trickled gently in the background. Jason sat across from the therapist, fingers laced, staring at the floor. I don't know what to say, he admitted. You don't have to start big, she said softly. Start where it hurts the least. He breathed in, then out. Slowly. I stayed with her, long after I knew something was wrong. I kept hoping she'd change. Why do you think that is? Because the alternative meant admitting I didn't matter to her at all. There it was. The silence between them didn't feel awkward. It felt honest. You weren't weak, she said. You were loyal. And she exploited that. Jason's throat tightened. It still feels like I failed. Then let's work through that. Because surviving is not the same as failing. He nodded, blinking hard. Session after session, they peeled it back. The self-blame, the misplaced guilt, the ache of loving someone who weaponized it. Some wounds weren't about Amanda. Some were older, deeper, left unspoken for years. But now, he was finally speaking them out loud. And that was a start. The cafe was tucked away. No loud music, no college kids with laptops, just the scent of dark roast and wood polish. Jason sat by the window, watching the rain blur the glass. Across from him sat someone new. Emily. They'd met 2 weeks earlier through the consulting firm. She wasn't flashy. No fake charm. She listened more than she talked, and her smile didn't feel like a mask. First date since the divorce? She asked gently. Jason nodded. First one that doesn't feel like a test. Emily smiled. That's a good start. He studied her face, soft eyes, hair in a loose braid, hands wrapped around her mug like she needed the warmth more than the caffeine. I won't lie, he said. I'm still figuring things out. You're not supposed to have it figured out, she replied. You're supposed to live through it. That's the only way forward. Jason exhaled slowly. No pressure. No performative interest. Just a woman being real. They talked about books, cities they wanted to visit, childhood screw-ups. No trauma dumping. Just 2 people sharing space with no expectations. When the check came, she reached for it. He let her. Outside, the rain had stopped. You don't look broken, she said before they parted. Jason smiled. I used to. Now. He looked up at the sky. I look free. It came out of nowhere. A number Jason hadn't seen in months. The name on the screen still made his gut clench. Amanda. He let it ring. Then again. And again. The 5th time, he answered. Jason, her voice cracked. Please. I just want to talk. You don't get to want anything from me anymore. I know you hate me. I deserve that. But they froze my accounts. I don't have anywhere to stay. That's not my problem. A long silence. I just thought, after everything, you thought wrong. She started crying. Or at least, tried to. Do you feel anything at all? She asked. Jason stared out the window of his loft. Max asleep at his feet. I feel free. I feel clean. And I don't owe you a damn thing. She sobbed quietly. I have no one. You built that, he said. One lie at a time. He hung up, blocked the number, and exhaled like someone shedding the last thread of a chain. Jason found himself typing again. Not because he needed to, because part of him wanted to close it all with one final letter. But this time, not the kind written from pain. From power. He wrote, You hurt me in ways I didn't think were survivable. You turned love into leverage. Home into a crime scene. And I still wish none of it happened. Not because I miss you, but because I hate what I had to become just to fix what you broke. He stopped, reread it, and deleted the whole thing. Amanda didn't deserve his last word. He didn't need to release it. He needed to let it go. Jason stood, stretched, and opened the windows. Fresh air drifted in. Max trotted to the edge, sniffing at the breeze. He grabbed a pen, wrote one final note, only for himself. She doesn't get my closure. I do. And taped it to the back of the door. Jason woke up before the sun. The loft was quiet. The kind of quiet that used to ache, but now felt like peace. He padded barefoot across the wooden floor, poured himself coffee, and watched the skyline turn from gray to soft orange. Max lay curled in the corner, chest rising slow and steady, dreaming. No stress in his twitching paws. No tension in his limbs. Jason smiled. The dog had once mirrored him, restless, anxious, watching shadows for threats that felt too close. Now he slept like the world made sense again. Jason pulled out his phone. No drama. No voicemails. Just a message from Emily. Hi today. He replied. Pick you up in 30. No need to explain where he'd been, or what he'd survived. That was the past. Today, Jason was alive, safe, stronger, and so was Max. There's a lie people love to tell, that once you leave the pain behind, you'll get your old self back. Jason stood on the hiking trail, hands in his pockets, wind brushing through the tall grass. The city skyline loomed far behind him now, small, quiet, like a dream he'd finally woken from. Emily walked a few steps ahead, Max jogging between them, tail wagging. No leash, no commands, just freedom. And Jason realized something he never expected to feel. He didn't want his old life back. He didn't want the version of himself who second-guessed every conversation, who mistook manipulation for love, who begged for breadcrumbs from someone planning his funeral with a smile. That man was gone. In his place stood someone rebuilt. Not polished, not perfect, but real. Jason paused by a rocky overlook, staring out across the valley. He pulled out his phone, not to check it, but just to hold it, to feel how quiet it was. No missed calls, no fake apologies, no ghosts. Emily turned to him, her smile easy, hair pulled back by the wind. You good? Jason nodded. Better than good. He wasn't healed because Amanda fell. He was healed because he climbed out of the place she left him in, on his own terms. And finally, without looking back. Later that evening, Jason stood on the rooftop of his new building. Sunset burned low behind him. Max was at his feet. Emily sat nearby, sipping wine and playing some soft track on her phone. Nothing dramatic, just quiet melody. Jason took a breath. He'd won the court battle. He'd exposed the lies. The revenge had been cold, calculated, and complete. But this moment, this was the victory. No spotlight, no applause, just peace. That's the thing about justice. It doesn't always come loud. Sometimes it comes like this. In stillness, in silence, in the soft exhale of a man who finally walked away from fire without needing to throw another match behind him. Jason leaned over the railing, looked down at the world he once thought he couldn't live in without her. He smiled. I survived. And then, almost to himself, how many people never got the chance? The screen fades to black. Then these final words. How far would you go to reclaim your peace after betrayal? Would you burn it all, or rebuild something better? Let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? And if this story hit you somewhere real, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's still holding on when they deserve to let go. Because maybe they need to hear this too. Don't get mad. Get even. Then get free. End of story.